What if the reason you feel disconnected, scattered, or overwhelmed is because your bioelectric field isn't aligned? Understanding bioelectricity could be the missing link to unlocking your neurodivergent superpowers. Every cell in your body has its own tiny bioelectric field. It's kind of like a Wi-Fi signal, and they all group together to make one big bioelectric field, a communication system that is separate from the nervous system. If you'd like to understand what I'm talking about when I talk about bioelectricity on a deeper level, then check out some of my other introduction videos where we get into everyday analogies so that anybody can understand it. Why? Because my name is Nikki and I love neurobiology and bioelectric fields. And also, I am diagnosed with autism and ADHD, and I have struggled immensely my entire life with feeling completely scattered and overwhelmed at absolutely everything. I have spent the last 8 years of my life working my butt off to understand how my body works in order to heal. What I found with neurobiology is a way to relate my everyday experience directly to what's going on in my bioelectric field. You guys don't have to spend 8 years to get to the point that I've gotten to. So, can you relate to feeling overwhelmed or out of sync with the rest of life? If so, anytime I touch on a symptom that resonates with you, or if you have a question about bioelectricity, make a comment and I will respond to it, I promise. As a person who identifies as being neurodivergent, you can probably relate to having difficulty with your sensory information being way too sensitive, to not understanding what your feelings are trying to tell you, and probably experiencing more anxiety than it seems like the average person does, along with having too many thoughts and along with having difficulty focusing. The really cool thing about bioelectricity is that all of these are related to it. Bioelectricity and neurodiversity are intimately linked together because people who have mental health labels associated with them tend to be people who also have portions of their brain that are firing more frequently than they are for other people, and portions of their brain that are firing with more voltage, amps, power than it is for other people. And when we have more power in an area, and when an area is firing more frequently for us than it is for other people, it is harder to keep those really strong parts of our brain coherent and rhythmically communicating with the rest of the brain and body. Every little tiny bioelectric field in your body can be either coherent or incoherent, regulated or dysregulated. To understand one way in which this makes your sensory experiences more difficult than other people's, imagine that you have a grid of drones that are set up to do a show. They're all supposed to flash lights that are green and then yellow and then orange and then red. But their Wi-Fi signals are incoherent, or Bluetooth signals, meaning that they're not timed properly. Instead, you get a show where you get all of the colors at different times, and it doesn't look as great. This is why a noise that's fine for someone else sounds like a cacophony to you. A touch that's fine for someone else feels jarring for you. A sight that's fine for someone else feels bothersome for you. In fact, if you consider what the physical feeling of anxiety in your body can be like, can it feel kind of like tingles all across your body? Because the signal is supposed to be coming in to give you a feeling, and maybe it would be a positive, wonderful feeling, but that drone show is not synchronized, so you're not getting a pretty picture all at once. You're getting scattered bits and pieces across your body, and it feels awful and also confusing because we don't know why it feels like that and what that means. The incoherence in your cells also explains why you have so much trouble focusing and why you have so many thoughts in your head. Think about coherence like a Zoom video call where everybody is sharing the screen at once and taking turns talking, whereas incoherence means there's only one person on that screen at a time. They get to direct everything, and they're not hearing anything that anybody else is trying to say. So you don't have a fluid conversation, and you don't have all of the information in front of you before you make the choice about what you're going to do. Instead, it's kind of like you keep jumping back and forth between who's in charge and making the decisions. Now, if you're still following along and feeling like this is so you, but also like, how do you use this information in daily life, and does it even matter? Well, don't worry, because bioelectricity is actually super actionable. A personal example of how noticeable it can be to change your bioelectric field is Wim Hof breathing, Tumo breathing, power breathing. Before I started doing it, I struggled with my son and other people around me because an unexpected touch was very visceral and jarring for me. I had an extremely frustrated reaction, even though I didn't want to, but my body couldn't handle it. Well, after I had done it for a couple days in a row, I was reading a book to my son, and he was playing with the stick at the same time. And he hit me by accident with the stick 3 times. And I noticed after the third time that I had not even flinched. I had not cared at all. I was like, oh, this is no, like, why are you even saying sorry? It's fine. And then I paused and I was like, whoa, this is never fine. What do I mean this is fine? That's crazy. Possibly the best thing about learning how your body works through bioelectricity is that you don't have to look at all at psychology and what happened when you were 5 and all of the stories in your life and the beliefs you need to change. It doesn't even need to enter the picture because we are just looking at being little scientists here and observing, this is how I feel. And then I do this activity that I know should have this effect. And this is how I feel afterwards. And because I've been watching Nikki's videos and she's explained it to me, I understand that this feeling has changed for this reason. And because you're seeing it and you're noticing the difference in the experience, it's a lot easier to change. So if you're interested in more insights on how bioelectricity can help you tap into your neurodivergent strengths, hit that subscribe button. Finally, if you haven't left any comments yet, please leave one. I want to make videos that have the biggest impact for you in the life that you are living and the struggles you are facing right now. And I can't do that if I'm just guessing at what would be helpful for you. So please give me some guidance.